Apple just changed how app icons work again, but this time it's not just about resolution. It's about light, depth, and a material called liquid glass. Let me show you how I built one. Start to finish, using their new tool, Icon Composer. Hey, I'm Daniel. And yeah, today I'm walking you through how I created this liquid glass style app icon using Apple's new Icon Composer. So, Icon Composer is this really cool new tool Apple dropped with macOS Sequoia and iOS 18, and it's part of this whole new design vibe they're rolling out. Basically, app icons now respond to light and depth in a more layered, realistic way. They're calling it liquid glass, which sounds kind of sci-fi, but once you see it in action, it clicks. It's not just a shiny trick. It's actually a whole new philosophy for designing icons. I mean, icons used to be these flat, static images, right? You'd tune them by hand, pixel by pixel for every size. Then came Retina, then asset catalogs, then auto scaling. And now in 2025, yeah, Apple's taking another leap. Icons are now dynamic, layered, and responsive. They shift across light and dark mode, clear and tinted appearances, all from one single file, which is wild. So in this video, or devlog tutorial, whatever we want to call it, I'll walk you through how I built mine, starting in Figma with flat assets, then bringing everything to life inside Icon Composer, and finally plugging it into Xcode. And I'll sprinkle in a bunch of pro tips from Apple's WWDC session too. Lots of good nuggets in there. All right, let's dive in. Okay, before we even touch Icon Composer, I always start in Figma. That's just what I like. But honestly, Sketch, Illustrator, Photoshop, that's all fair game. The key thing is your design tool needs to support vectors and layers. Vectors give you clean scaling and let Icon Composer apply all the fancy materials. For my icon, I kept it pretty chill. A 5-pointed star, a crescent moon, and a soft puffy cloud. No gradients, no shadows, no baked lighting, just flat shapes. This is super important because Icon Composer does all the heavy lifting visually. If you add effects now, you're kind of locking yourself out later. Why flat shapes? Because liquid glass relies on clean geometry to apply depth and lighting correctly. If your shapes already have blur or glow baked in, Composer can't distinguish what's material versus style. You're giving up control before you even get started. And hey, if your icon has any text, convert that to outlines before you export. Fonts don't survive SVG export, and I've totally had icons show up completely blank because I forgot that step. Rookie move. Another thing, do not include the rounded rectangle mask. Apple applies that automatically when your icon shows up on the device. If you add one manually, you might end up with a weird double mask or an icon that looks slightly off center. Just don't do it. Composer handles the platform styling, trust it. Well, now let's talk layers. Each shape should be on its own layer, and again, you'll want to export each layer as its own file. I named mine 1star.svg, 2moon.svg, and 3cloud.svg. The numbers matter. Icon Composer uses them to figure out the depth order, not top to bottom. And here's a pro move. Export simple fills as SVG, but for anything complex, like gradients, images, or transparency tricks, use PNG. That way you can preserve the detail while still layering it inside Composer. Depending on your icon, you might only need 2 layers, like a single glyph and a background, or you could break it into 5 or 6 for more nuanced control. I usually aim for 3 to 4, which lets me create nice parallax effects without overcomplicating the file. Also, visual tip here if you're watching, you'll see how I've got each shape centered in its own artboard in Figma. That way, when I import to Composer, they drop in exactly aligned. If you're designing something more illustrative, like a weather app icon with sun, clouds, and rain, separate each element by role. That way you can give each one its own depth and highlight behavior. Oh, and if your icon touches the edges, add bleed. It's like designing for print. WatchOS uses a circular crop, and if your art doesn't extend a bit, it can feel misaligned or clipped. All right, let's open up Icon Composer. It ships with Xcode 17. Just go to Xcode greater than Open Developer Tool greater than Icon Composer. You'll get this nice little standalone app. Sidebar on the left, canvas in the middle, inspector on the right. Familiar layout if you've used anything like Figma. Drag your SVGs right onto the canvas and they'll auto stack in the sidebar. You'll see each one come in as a new layer. Now here's the why behind groups. Each group gets its own glass material, meaning you can tweak how it reacts to light, depth, blur, opacity, and shadows. If you just throw everything into one group, you lose that flexibility. So yeah, I usually split by visual role, foreground, midground, background, glow. You can totally get away with just one group for simple icons. But if you want layers to behave independently in different appearance modes, separate groups make that way easier. Pro tip, once everything's in, check your preview at a few zoom levels. If things feel flat, don't panic. We haven't styled it yet. Think of this like stacking glass slides. The magic comes next. Bonus use case, if you're designing a productivity app icon with a calendar, number, and background, group the number separately. That way you can control how it stands out across modes, especially in mono. Okay, this is where Icon Composer gets fun, like really fun. First thing I do, switch the preview to dark mode. Just hit the toggle in the top right, trust me. Liquid glass really pops on a darker background, makes it easier to see all the depth and highlights. Now you've got a bunch of styling controls, both at the group level and the layer level. Here's what I usually go for. The cloud gets a soft blue fill, specular highlight, slightly reduced opacity, and a neutral shadow. The moon gets a warm yellow fill, slight blur, and a chromatic shadow that tints the edge glow just a bit. The star gets a punchy gold, overlay blend mode, and bump in brightness plus saturation. This is where the per appearance tweaking comes in handy. You can fine tune every group to behave differently in default, dark, clear, and tinted appearances. Example, in tinted dark, I pull back the star's brightness so it doesn't dominate. In default, I let it shine. If you're watching along, check out the top right preview area. As I flip between appearances, you can see how each element adapts in real time. That's the power of variance. Also, blur is global unless overridden. Fill, blend mode, opacity, shadow, those can all change per mode. And yeah, PNG layers can't have editable fills, but you can still assign their group a material, so you still get depth and shadows. Sometimes less is more. If a shape feels overlit, go to the layer and turn off liquid glass entirely. I did that with a calendar date element once. Looked way better without the sheen. Now we test. Icon Composer has built-in previews for iPhone, iPad, Mac, and Watch, and you can toggle through appearance modes, default, dark, clear, tinted. You can even change the background behind your icon, like testing it on dark wallpapers, gradients, or high contrast colors. This is super important for legibility. Here's what I always look for. Do shadows disappear in mono? Does the icon still pop against both light and dark walls? Does it feel optically centered on watch? Mono mode especially needs attention. Icon Composer will auto grayscale your icon, but that conversion isn't always ideal. I usually edit the fills manually. One shape stays white for visibility, others shift to mid-grays. Also, there's a grid overlay toggle in the preview pane. Use it. It helps you align everything with Apple's icon layout grid. And little trick, rotate the canvas slightly and you can see how the highlights shift. Helps test how glass materials react under simulated light. When your icon looks good in every mode, just go to File greater than Export, save your .icon file. In Xcode, go to your asset catalog, drag the .icon file into the appicon set. That's it. Behind the scenes, Xcode handles all the slicing, scaling, and rendering per platform. You don't have to create 20 different sizes anymore. The system renders everything live using your one icon file. If you need static PNGs, like for App Store screenshots, promo websites, or press kits, just right-click your preview and export at any size. So yeah, that's the full process. From designing in Figma to exporting a responsive, dynamic, super polished icon that works everywhere, the iPhone, iPad, Mac, watch, whole thing took me under 20 minutes. And honestly, it was fun. Way more fun than slicing PNGs and fiddling with masks in Photoshop. Icon Composer kind of flips the script on icon design. You're not just drawing anymore, you're building a living object, something that reacts, adapts, and just feels native. If you're an indie dev or designer, this tool gives you a serious edge. And if you want a part two, maybe designing the icon in Figma from scratch or diving deeper into mono mode optimizations, leave a comment or ping me. Thanks for watching. I'm Daniel. This is Solo Swift Crafter. If you found this helpful or just want to see more behind the scenes design, dev stuff like this, feel free to drop a comment or share what you're working on too. I love hearing how others are building in this new Apple ecosystem. This channel's all about thoughtful solo workflows, modern tools, and staying curious. Whether you're coding, designing, or just experimenting with what's possible. Until next time, keep crafting, stay curious. Peace.